Wagwan. Yes, people, welcome to another edition of Mandem Chat on this rainy Wednesday. So this week we're going to stay kind of close to home. You know, we've got one of our regular members going to be speaking today. We have Victor Evelyn, aka Sifu Blapps, known to all on the group. A man who wears many hats, you know, including martial arts specialist, martial arts security specialist, community activist, co-founder of CDMA, a community organization doing lots of works around the world. Welcome, Sifu.
Thank you. Thank you. And good evening to everyone. Trust I find you all in good health.
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah, you know.
I'm ready.
Okay, Blaps, can you give us a bit about your history? You're Luton born and bred, yeah? Just for those who don't know.
Absolutely, positively Luton born and bred. I love Luton, and anyone that says they don't love Luton, that came from Luton, I've got a problem with them.
Right.
I mean, I understand when you're talking about Luton, it's like talking about Asgard. Asgard is a people. Luton is a people. It's not a town. Okay. But yeah, I was born in Luton, and my two brothers that are older than me were born in London and then Birmingham, respectively. And then I was born in Luton, and then my little brother was born in Luton too. We all grew up in the same generation, and my dad and mum, my dad came over first, Windrush times, around 60, 62. And then my mum followed on about a year later. And then my brother was born in under the Bow Bells, Cockney Sparrow, my old sparrow. He's a Cockney. And my elder brother was 2 years later, was born in Birmingham when we all moved up to Birmingham. And then we moved back to Luton when I was born. And Dane Road, basically. Everyone in Luton knows what Dane Road is. And then I grew up in Ockering, and my little brother was born later on. We all grew up in martial arts as well, because my whole family learned martial arts. I'm talking about my aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone, both sides of the family are involved in martial arts. So my dad came over as a policeman in Jamaica. He learned taekwondo and boxing. And when he came over here, he found an old Chinese man in London and started learning Fai Sao, which is a white crane kung fu. Then like all my brothers, started learning martial arts from when we were about 5, 6 years old, all of us. So the first one we learned was my dad's style, which was basically taught ad hoc from you know, we couldn't go to the bathroom unless he did some kind of technique on us that we had to escape from or defend to. He brought us up like we were soldiers, because when we came over, when he get out of here, blah, blah, spit in the eye, he would fight them. Policeman would come and arrest him. So he was like, I'm a policeman. He wanted his justice. So he would go to the churches, because you know, everyone in Jamaica goes to a church, apparently. And when he's coming over here, he wanted to find a Baptist church, because when you go to a church in Jamaica, you go to the pastor to help you with your children, your job, finances, problems in life. So he found a Baptist church over here, and they said, this is not your church, you're the wrong color. You need to find your own church. And so again, proper racism. So he said he's not going to have his children grow up in this madness. And so he started teaching us for the war. And we were being trained like army cadets. I would tell stories about how we were trained around the domino table, because we're all living in Luton, very close to each other. Marsh Farm, Hockwell Ring, town centre, we're all very close. So we used to go out to each other's house and yam food. But it's like when you're talking about how I'm going to whoop you, like your dad used to whoop you with this 666, watch that. And then someone said, I'm going to whoop you like my dad used to whoop me. He used to slap me with a slipper. I'm going to slap you with this 6'5", watch it. And then it'll come around to me and I'll say, I'm going to whoop you like dad used to whoop me with a chain. And everyone will look at me like, come on, Vic, you're going too far, bro. Well, to me, it's like, aren't you getting whipped with a chain? What's your problem? And then it'll come around to me again. And I'll say, yeah, he used to whip us with a hose pipe that was split at the end. And he used to whip us so it would cut us. And it's like, okay, you're going too far, Vic. Is this real or not? And then jaws will be on the floor, but it's a normal day for me. It's Tuesday. We would have to go down to breakfast by walking down the stairs on all fours.
Okay, so some type of real military bringing up them, some growings.
Yeah, and sometimes we wake us up 3 o'clock in the morning, kick the bed, throw a rifle at us made of wood. We'd have to grab the rifle out of our sleep, grab the rifle, point it back at him, say, who goes there? He would have to get up, go run around the block, don't matter what weather it is in your bare feet. We would have to, there's so much stuff that when I started teaching myself, there was, the students will say, where are you getting these mad exercises from? I go, my dad used to exercise me like this, what's the problem? And so I would always do the exercises and say, well, now you do it. So they would always be, later on, they're grateful. And anytime a beginner comes in and they're seeing the mad exercises, they look at him like, what's your problem? Look how tonk we are, look how strong we are, look how defined and, ready for war we are. So just get used to it, deal with it.
Yeah, you're still cracking a bit and the vocals is still a bit low.
I don't know what to do about it.
If you can talk up or bring the mic a bit closer. So I noticed you invented this press up thing you do. What's that called again? The Evelyn.
Wow, the Evelyn press up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the press up is
Apple will get to you in a minute. Sorry, Blaps. Apple, we will get to you in a minute. I see your hand up. Oh, it's smart. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
because we start on things like basic press ups on your knees, and then we work up to regular military press. Then we do sailor's press, which is backside up in the air, and you're making a triangle with your body, so and then you're going down within a triangle to your forehead. And so you make it harder and harder, eventually leading up to handstand press ups, and then walking up stairs on your hands.
Okay.
So the Evelyn press up was just to make the grade go past the top. Whatever we made up, we crank it. We don't go backwards. So there's no like, we did 5 press ups last week, let's do 4 this week. It's always, let's do 10, let's do 15, in order to find your breaking point and go beyond it. And people, how many press ups can you do, Sifu? I say 1. I can do 1 press up. And they'll say, what's that about? And I'll say, I'll press up until I feel like I'm going to die and then do 1.
Then do 1 extra. I heard Arnold Schwarzenegger say the same thing. He don't start counting until it starts hurting.
Proper pain. Pain.
Yeah, I heard that.
So I can do 1 because I always fail after that 1. So I know I've given all mine. I've injured myself properly by overtraining and trying to better myself. Properly overtrained. And it's always been a problem for me to overtrain. I've gained lifelong injuries because of that.
Okay, we have a question. We have a hands up from Apple.
Okay.
You okay with that?
Yeah,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Mark, is it Mark?
It's me. No,
yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, I signed on to.
You changed the Apple.
The Blapps. Going back to the discipline in the yard, yeah, right. Was it like the whole of you that was getting dealt with like that, or did like the older one get it a little bit more and he was a bit softer on some of the rest?
A typical day would be, my dad would, because my dad used to get Reader's Digest books.
Yeah.
which is you get 3 for 50p each, and they get delivered.
Breaking up, you're breaking up, Blaps. Can you say that again, please?
And I've got a library in my flat right now. I could show. We had hundreds of books in my house growing up. Got the same thing, hundreds of books, because I love reading books. Just get it from my childhood. And when I had my academy, 2016, we were giving away books for free. So to me, it was a delight to just be there every day and just take a book home, take 10 books. And my dad would literally say, pick a book and you're reading it and studying it. And then at breakfast, he'll be saying, what did you learn in your book? And if you got something wrong, we're all doing press ups or Caesar's chair against the wall, or we're doing 100 press ups, or it's always something if we get something wrong. So I'd be playing in the garden one day. My dad would say, yo, Victor, well, Junior, everyone called me Junior in my family, because my dad's name's Victor as well. So everyone called me Junior. So Junior, come here, what's 3 times 5? 17, Dad. And then, right, yeah, Jeffrey, it's my eldest brother, come here. Slap him around the face. All right. And he'll look at me, Jeffrey, my eldest brother, will look at me like, what have you done wrong? Right. And he's saying, now go and teach in the times table. Right. So it's the good must suffer for the bad. Okay. Of course, I'm getting of course I'm getting a whipping too. I'm getting away with none. But yeah, beating for my brother, beating for me. Then they come back and say, right, give me the whole times table. He'll give me multiplication problems, all this kind of stuff to make sure I know every connotation of that table until it's gone. We went away on a camping trip, and we were doing the one time we were doing the everyone's doing their bit to win a prize, talent competition. And my eldest brother had always chose his book. His book was the complete works of William Shakespeare. My elder brother, well, his book was Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. My book was the dictionary, Oxford English Dictionary, like yay thick. And my younger brother chose the history of the world, right? So now we had to study these books. They were massive books. We couldn't choose anything with pictures in it. We had to choose text. And like Post-it notes, we used to keep them on our bedhead so we could recite at night before we go to sleep and practice. And so when we went away on holiday, the talent competition, my brother decided he's going to recite to be or not to be. But that is a question whether it is noble and might to suffer the sins and hours outrageous fortune. And you see that whole part, that whole point. And then he won his competition, and I won mine by dancing. My elder brother won by standing on his head, and my little brother won by dancing as well. He won his. So I asked for kiek as a prize. We won some kiek, and from then that was my nickname in the family, kiek. And it was just a matter of knowing that my eldest brother became an actor after that, just because he was learning from that book all the time. But anytime we had the complete works of the Encyclopedia Britannica, 30 volumes, and so we had Google before Google was Google. And my dad would just say, what's the problem? Go and find out. Go and find out the problems. And so because of his introduction to Britain through proper racism, he starts slipping away from religion. My mum was stronger, kept at it. So my life was more about both of them give me their insights into what their philosophies. Mum, wise and sky blue, because God make it so. Stop asking stupid questions. Dad, why is the sky blue? Because the sun is made up of all the colors of the rainbow, and it gets refracted by water droplets, and you see the rainbow. And the blue is one that gets scattered the most because of the ionosphere and the stratosphere and the nanosphere, all them different types of the atmosphere, they get scattered around. So blues are strong, so you get scattered, so you see blue. And late at night, yellow gets stronger, so you see yellow. As the sun, yellow. And so this is what I grew up with, which is why I'm all about facts later in life.
So Victor, quickly, so
Can I?
were you, sorry, Beanie, let me just finish off. Would you say, were you quite resentful towards your dad growing up? Or are you resentful now? Or
No. This, a lot of people have asked me that question. It's
Yeah.
a damn good question. I've written a book about, it's called I Am Wing Chun. I've written the
I've
book.
seen the cover of that.
And well, damn, check you, where do you find that? My dad came back. I finished it in 2008. My dad came back to England in 2006, and it was halfway finished. And he read about all the stuff, how he trained me and everything, and what it did for me later in life. Right, so you can see I was very grateful for how I was brought up, because it made me what I am now. And I say to all my students, you should thank your mum and dad every day. Okay, can't hear you, Marvin.
Yeah, sorry, because can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
Yeah, Warwick come in and kind of touched on an area I was gonna say, did you ever consider this to be abuse? Because to be honest, what you're saying, like your dad was training you for you know, what's to be for you and maybe your brothers as a young black men. So do you feel like the life you've been through, that training actually helped you, protected you more than anybody else that hasn't gone through such a strict regime? And you know, it sounds borderline abusive, man. A lot of us have gone through it. Look, I've been through it. You know, when we were getting disciplined, this with belts, canes, all of these things. This is abuse, my brother.
Of course. Yeah.
Especially in this day.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, when I wrote the book, though, it's very cathartic because I saw what my dad was doing for us. And to him, it wasn't abuse. He was training us. Back in the day, if we got what he got, he'd been carted off his parents would have been carted off to prison. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it was less for us. And when it comes to my children, they got some at the beginning, but early in their life, like 5, 7 years old, right, they were getting more about the martial arts training. So now it comes to my son becoming the youngest person to pass level 1 for adults in Britain. You see what I mean? At 6 years old, he was sparring against adults. You see what I'm saying? Because that's how he was brought up.
Do you not think you know, that a lot of the discipline, how he was brought up, is physical abuse? Yeah, that's what I feel. So absolutely. Don't you think a lot of us have gone through this? So do you think that this is a big part of why we turn out so hostile?
No. I would, because when you're saying, did a particular thing make you that? No, because I can't speak for everyone else. Okay, I have the same upbringing as the rest of my brothers, and they didn't do what I got up to later in life. I got involved with the police very early in my life. I was getting arrested on a weekly basis, almost a weekly basis. I was getting arrested, but they weren't. So, you know what I'm saying? It's how it affects you. And when he saw how it affected me in the book, he was saying, you need to finish this book. And so when I finished it in 2008, it was just like, I felt good. It wasn't really about selling a book. It wasn't really about doing anything about a book. It was just to get it off my chest, to, you know, get it out there. And I tell people, I love what my dad did for me. I love what my mum did for me. I would prefer my dad to beat me more than my mum, because my mum was one of them typical Jamaican mums who would literally reach without looking to find something to beat it with.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'd rather do it like that. There's a time when my brother did a joke at Christmas around the Christmas table. You know, you're laughing and eating all this mad amount of food, and you're getting drunk on the food. And someone said, someone doing an impression of mum. So my brother got up and said, Victor, if you don't clean up this, you room. I can't say what she said. It's going to be hell and powder house. And she used to and grabbed my brother to beat me. So she grabbed my brother to beat me. So instead of grabbing a stick or something, she grabbed my brother to beat me with. So that's just a joke, but you know, it's not far from the truth. My mum was mental, and you know, but is their way of protecting us from what's to come. And I'm so glad I got the training, because other people's parents want me to train their children the same way. Obviously not taking them to the hospital every week, but you know, I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't go to the hospital.
I mean, I would say that most
but
children,
sorry, I grew up thinking this was normal.
yes,
You
this is
see
what I
what
was
I'm
about to say. I think most children
so
in our era,
I didn't have that thing, and I was that youth who was like, Dad, what we doing now? What we doing now? Back in the day, I'd be hyperactive.
Yeah.
Up till 2 o'clock in the morning, not sleeping, training, doing this. Mum, what you doing? Dad, what you doing? Where are we going? When we're on the trip? Where are we there yet? Are we there yet? I was that youth.
Yeah, so I think quite a lot of us back in the day had similar upbringing, but like Marvin said, in this day, it would be seen as abuse.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Most definitely. I will want to get to you 1 minute. Let me just ask Tyrone. Have you still got that question, Tyrone?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you sort of answered it as you was going along, but as I'm listening, I just wanted to say, like, do you think that sort of discipline, even though, like, you know, your dad loved you, and obviously you loved your father, and obviously his way of discipline, and not just disciplining, but getting you ready for adulthood, was as a result of the times we lived in, his experience and the times you lot lived in. But do you think now you're a big man now, do you think that is normal?
What do you mean? If that's normal, what do you mean?
Well, okay. When I say I shouldn't, maybe normal ain't the right word. Do you
normal
think
to bring up children that way? A good way to bring up children? Or not?
I think what I'm trying to say is, yeah, even me now, like, as a 43-year-old man, up to this day, I will still look at ways that I've dealt with situations with my kids. Because my mum wouldn't ramp to lash me and whatever she had to do to put me straight. She wouldn't ramp to you know, she would never spare the rod, yeah. Then in them way there. And because of the way how I was brought up, you know, and being a young father coming up to them time now, like, I would do the same to my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But this is the thing.
There's even been a rule in my house where if we ever get a knock on the door, does Rare get beaten? No one don't get beat in this house. You understand? Because if I have to give a slap, I'm gonna give a slap. But even up to this day, I reflect on myself and say to myself, I wish I could be more maturer and have more wisdom to deal with it in different ways.
What you hear from me speaking, what you hear is that my dad beat me, and that's it. Your head has stopped.
No. I'm not.
It's okay. A lot of people do it.
Abused you. I'm not saying he abused you.
I know he didn't abuse me. What I'm saying is, like, when I say to people, yeah, my dad beat me, it was like, yeah, your dad beat you. But the thing is, when he was beating us, it wasn't just because he was vexed with life and how he's been treated, and so he took it out on his youths. It was training. It's always about training. And there's always something to be learned. There's always a morale behind it. There's always an ethic to be learned. And it's always based on martial arts learning.
But it's because his experiences in his life, why he grew you the way he grew you, assuming that you may have to face those same realities.
He's making sure that
But
we weren't going to blubber out. He said there's no one, we weren't, for instance, we weren't allowed to spar, we weren't allowed to fight. We were allowed to spar, but we weren't allowed to fight each other, like in anger. We weren't allowed to do that.
yeah,
He said, you're no fighting amongst yourself, you fight them out there. Right? If someone talks to you and cusses you out and calls you this, that, and the other, you don't rise to it. You give them a long road.
So you have to say that
Yes.
again because it froze and what you were saying. Because we got bad weather here at the moment, so I
Okay.
think this is
Well,
what's affecting the bandwidth. Go
well,
again.
what I was saying is that when you're taught a martial art at Wing Chun is a pro-reactive martial art. So when you
You might
my
have to
dad was
move
teaching
from
us
where
not
you
to
are.
start any situation, just end it and get out there as soon as possible. Okay, you only fight someone if they look like they're going to touch you, or if they actually tried to touch you. They can even make a flex to touch you. I've so many times I've ended up in court. Sorry. Hello. Hello. Hi. Anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother.
I can't hear
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
I can hear
I
you.
can't hear anyone. Yeah, I can hear you. What, someone asked me a question. Someone asked me a question then.
Yeah, Owen.
Alwyn, go ahead,
No, I
brother.
was just saying that you might have to move because your reception seems to be going off a bit. I'm just saying you might like sometimes you just move around or near the window or something. It helps. I don't know.
Okay,
Let me
referring to
see.
the bandwidth and that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just doing that. Yeah. So, but anyway, I mean, I wanted to ask a question anyway. Like, obviously,
Go ahead, Alwyn.
Say again. I didn't hear
yeah.
that.
No, my question was just like, okay, well, I mean, you kind of answered it in a way because obviously I was like, oh, well, your dad was like obviously like that, but your mum, I was gonna say, well, how did your mum feel about that sort of rigorous training that your dad was given to you guys? And how many was it, like pure boys or was it the girls as well in the family? Can you hear that?
No, it's
Blaps.
4 boys, but when is 4 boys in the family. 4 boys. Can you hear
No
me?
girls.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Can you
can
hear
hear
me?
you.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'm saying 4 boys. All right.
No
Good.
girls.
So if it's 4 boys, no girls, couldn't bother with. Yeah, can't be bothered with an assistant and everything. That's stupidness. Right. What I'm saying, my mum wanted a girl. I was a third. My mum wanted a girl. And there's a picture out there in one of her photo albums of me as I think 12, 14, 15 month old, something like that, just dressed in a dress because I was supposed to be the girl. So she wanted her satisfaction of seeing one of them. So that picture is out there somewhere. But like it's one of the things when you grow up with all brothers martial artists, and then you go to your auntie's house, and your uncle is a boxer, and your auntie is a karate expert, and her daughter is a taekwondo expert, and you go to the Ava council, a cousin's house, and your auntie there is a Tai Chi expert, and it just goes on and on and on. I've got people in Northampton; they all do martial arts there, all types of tiger and crane and
So it's normalized in your family then, basically.
it's just a regular thing. When you go to weddings and funerals, what do you know? What have you learned? Teach me something. We're in the back sparring against each other. What have you learned? Teach me something. You see what I mean? So there's so many. I know 7 martial arts systems. I've learned 7 martial arts systems so far, and I've made up my own one. So I know Fai Sao, Judo, Karate, Shotokan Karate, Wing Chun, China, Swai Jiao, and Tai Chi, 2 types of Tai Chi. And I've made my own that I call Absolute Reality Martial System, ARMS, which is a pro-reactive self-defense system I've made for corporate. So you can learn how to use your reactions to defend yourself. So it's your basic animal reactions to defend yourself and utilize them. So it gets taught in 4 hours. You know, it's just a regular system you can just use and run away. And it's for people in corporate to learn how to communicate with their fellow worker better, because most of the time people don't understand when it comes to security for yourself. It starts when you leave your front door. You lock the door behind you. You've made the door secure so no one can get into your yard, but you've got to make your body secure so you can get back to your yard. So you have to feel like you're going to be attacked at any time. Not to say that you become digi or you become wary of every single person that walks past, but it's having that ear of not walking like prey. You have to be prepared for anything. And it's not about saying, yeah, I'm actually prepared. When I say to people, I'm a prepper, I'm getting ready for the zombie apocalypse. I'm not saying it like I expect zombies to be walking the street on Tuesday afternoon. I'm saying that even if there were zombies, which is a ridiculous thing to say, I would be absolutely cool with that. I'd be like, yeah, I expected that. You see what I'm saying? Because that's the state of preparation in mind, body, and spirit that I'm doing. I'm always preparing in mind, in body, and spirit. That I always wake up, I'm learning something, training or playing, okay? And it's mind, body, or spirit training to cultivate your character. So when I say I pressure test by using martial arts, I do that for children and I do that for adults as well. So anything I'm interested in, I call myself a life investigator. So I investigate anything that interests me.
Right. I'm glad you said that, because I wanted to tell me about your the Black philosophy, and I know you do a lot of community work, or you have done community work. So could you tell us more about that?
Yeah. The Blapps philosophy was something. I mean, my nickname on the doors growing up. I started door work when I was 18. I've been doing door work for over 30 odd years, 35 years. I have my own security firm now, and I teach other people to become door supervisors. So I'm trained to level 4 in terms of security. That means I train the people that train the people to do security. So the main thing I do is to train people at level 2 to become door supervisors. And these days you have to be qualified since 2005 in communication and conflict management and physical intervention. So you can't just go out there, and you have to have first aid up to level level 3. But when you're going to a doorman now, it's not like back in the day when I was 18. We were bouncers back then. We were there for how we looked, but now you're there for to make everything liaison, to be a liaison between the customers and serve them to death. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes. You want a taxi, sir? No, sir. I won't punch you in the face, sir. If you're not nice, I'll just ask you to have a good night. But it's one of them things where you're under control now because you're the trained person, and you're there for the person's license, for the door, the premises supervisor license. So you have to be under control. As a martial artist, I know that I'm the worst thing to come across on the door. If I'm an angry person, if I'm not in control, then I'm literally a machine gun, a tank. How big is my ego today? Let me think. I'm a nuclear weapon. Yeah. So the worst case scenario, Luton's in trouble if I get trouble. You know, I can get really arrogant like that. It's a problem if I'm not in control. Okay. If what are you looking at me for? And I just bruck up the whole of his friends and I go to jail for 20 years. I mean, I have no more family. I don't see my family. Everything can go wrong. In that split second, I decide to be a hero or an idiot. So I have to be the person who's under complete control, even though people are drunk, even though they've lost their inhibitions and their control, even though they don't care about my safety or anyone else's safety around them. So this is what the industry knows now, is that we should be getting paid properly for what we know because we're trained people, we're experts.
Okay, but I want you to tell us
For
about
martial artists.
I want you to tell us about the community projects that you've done and so forth, the anti-bullying, the free running groups, all of that, please.
On the CDMA. I developed the community development through martial arts group in 1999. It's been going since 1990, but officially we registered the group with the council, and we've got a governing document, we've got everything, insurance, everything. We do 9 initiatives, 3 for mind, 3 for body, 3 for spirit, which help children, especially, primarily, to decrease their fear and doubt. Doubt is the lack of knowledge of yourself, and fear is lack of knowledge of a subject. So once you are using martial arts to develop them physically, mentally, and spiritually, any problem they come across, they can use the martial way to deal with that problem. It could be paying a bill. If you're an adult, it could be paying a bill, dealing with your wife, dealing with a problem at work. You know, you can use the martial method to deal with that. You don't have to, and that doesn't mean punching everyone in the mouth. It means using the martial method to get the problem solved. Because as a warrior, you don't see a barrier. You see something you can go over, through, underneath, or around. There's always a way to solve the problem, and that's what you do as a warrior. So to be able to, for you to solve more problems, you have to develop yourself, okay, and find more knowledge. So you have less doubt about yourself. You know what you can achieve. It's not arrogance now, it's knowledge. And then when you understand the world, meaning that you understand facts and figures about the world, then you have less fear of what the world is about. And so you become more enlightened of yourself. Once you're more enlightened, you can then teach people how to become enlightened and how to become calmer through meditation and Taoism, ambition development classes, real education, warriors life classes, where we teach all about the ethics and morals of a warrior, to martial arts anti-bullying collective that goes into schools and teaches children not only self-defense, but teaches them how to walk as a warrior, and the life classes again. We have LU3 runners classes, we have the Warriors Wing Chun classes, and we have Stunt and Film Elite. The Stunt and Film Elite is the main initiative that is the feeder to Pinewood Studios, because in our group we have 20 odd committee members, and one of them is a film director in Pinewood Studios. He's working on Aquaman 2, all kinds of stuff this year. He's in Turkey right now filming. And so we teach children and adults, if they want to act, how to act. And we teach from LU3 runners and stunt and filming how to do the stunts in movies, because we're martial arts based. So we learn how to do the stunts first and then learn how to act later. So it's a whole holistic method of developing the child in any aspect or career they might think of. They can find it in the film industry. And we feed towards Pinewood Studios right now. That's what we're doing. So that, I think I've covered all the 9 initiatives. Yeah, ambition development is about small businesses, how to start small businesses and find your most sought after job, how to do that properly. Blapps philosophy itself, that's the one I haven't covered, is based on my nickname, which was found from the doors. Blapps means better living and positive propaganda system today, but back in the day it meant something much more violent and rude, which I will not be coming out. But people used to go, what are you going to do about someone, suppose someone's a 9-degree ninja wants to get in. I go, that was my response back in the day. But since I've been teaching for so long now, and people come up to me and say, "Oh, you're Sifu, that means I'm responsible." I can't just say, "Yeah, I brought them all up here." That's the response to every problem achieve this, because we get our methods from people who have tried, against oppression. So these techniques don't come from just these things. Shaolin Temple is 1,500 years old. Wing Chun is 400 years old. And so it's been handed down because through people through oppression who are using the martial arts to defend themselves from death. Who won't ever in their life or even have an altercation in their life, they find it very difficult to understand why we're being so violent and why we're being so aggressive in our defense of self. Because you're absolutely your right to defend yourself. No one should be allowed to bully you.
Of course. We have
And
two questions.
that's why the Blapps symbol has a bigger person and a smaller person on a balance, on a swing, and they're on a level.
Right. Okay, we have two more questions as well. Norman, I know you're having
But
problems with
the philosophy is deeper there. I can go into the philosophy.
All right, 1 minute. Then. Let Norman ask his question. Norman, go ahead, brother.
I can't hear Norman.
Oh, Norman. I think he's having a problem with his mic. 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he rang
Shall
me.
I talk about Blapps philosophy?
Hold on, let Abdul ask a question there while we wait for Norman. Go ahead, Abdul. You there,
Yes.
Abdul?
Yes, Blapps.
Yes, hi. How you doing?
Yes. I was wondering, you've mentioned all these arts you've been doing and everything like that. I was actually wondering because you I don't think you've mentioned well, I mean, I think I came in a bit late anyway, so you probably must have covered it. But have you actually entered any, say, kind of tournaments or competitions, and have you won any kind of
I'm glad
medals or titles or anything?
I'm glad you asked. I'm about to show off like hell. Yes, I've been doing judo and karate tournaments, school tournaments since I was a child, single digits. I was one of the first to pass black belt before I was 16. Back then, I got into a local newspaper because of that. But these days, 15 years and 10 months, you're supposed to take it at 16. But these days, a 7-year-old can get a black belt. It's just, times have changed. Dojos are everywhere. I got involved into big time Sandar tournaments, which are Sandshu tournaments. Sandar, same thing. From Shaolin, it's fighting on a lei tai, which is a raised platform. That kind of fighting, full contact kung fu from when I got into Wing Chun, about 18 years old. So I won the British twice, European World Championship medalist. I fought in China, Taiwan, in the World Championships. So I got a lot of kudos for that, and then came back and started teaching. I have since trained fighters that have gone into tournaments and won the British full contact kung fu tournaments 3 times in a row, 3 years in a row, till we got bored of with champions in all kinds of other martial arts as well. Jiu-jitsu tournaments. I've got students that have become jiu-jitsu experts as well, and have won tournaments, and have taught people who have become using our principles from Warrriors Wing Chun, which is my school, in their martial art to win tournaments in their own systems that they're learning. So that's where I say my success lies. My accolades are who I've taught. I've taught many, many people to become Sifu themselves. We started back teaching adults Monday night, just gone. And 2 of the students I turned up are Sifu in their own right. So, they were teaching children that just started a year or so ago. So in the same class. So there you go. I'm a happy person, right? I got into sparring against people that were already proven. They were champions themselves. I wanted to fight people that knew what they had to fight. So that was why, to win a fight in the street, I'm always interested in that. And my dad already banned me from when I was young, because he saw my mentality at that point. going to any professional tournament. So I could only have my own students going to professional tournament because I didn't have the mentality for it. Does that answer your question?
Did you, you broke up a bit. I only got bits of what you said. Did you I was wondering, so did you say that you didn't have the mentality for professionalism? Just I think you said, or was it just the street?
The world of professional fighters like boxing and stuff, he didn't want me to get involved in that. Any type of professionalism. Amateur stuff was fine. Yeah, keeping it just to find out more about yourself, that's fine with my dad. But to get involved in all the politics of fighting and everything, he said, no, I don't want that for me, because I would get too vexed. I had a problem with people not listening. And when I grew up, like going back to what Marvin said about abuse, physical abuse wasn't the thing. My dad used to do a lot of mental stuff, which was to stop himself, I suppose, from just kicking the crap out of us all the time. So he would say, right, to punish for punishment, you're going to stand on the landing. I'm going away now. It's about 7 o'clock. I'm coming back at night after the party at 12 or whatever. And you have to stand on the landing until I come back. If I see you sitting down or leaning up against the wall, you're getting a beating. And my dad was a promiser. So if my dad said, right, you passed your driving test, I'm going to buy you, if you pass your driving test, I'm going to buy you a Porsche. He didn't say that, but this is what the kind of thing my dad would promise. I'm going to buy you a Porsche. I got, what, a little dinky car, Dad? No, a Porsche, if you pass your driving test. So it's like a motivational thing. So you pass the driving test, they go, right, let's go to the showroom. There would be a Porsche for you when you come back from the driving test. He's not one of these people that promises and it never happens. So when my dad said, I promise you, if you don't do this, I'm going to beat you, right? It is in your brain all the time. And when he said, when he was beating us now for something we did wrong, he would be coming out with that age-old thing that all black people, when they're beating their child, say is, those who can't hear, and I'll let you finish.
That's for you.
Exactly. So I had that in my head. So when I go into the street now, I say, look, bruv, I don't like your scarf you're wearing. And they say, so what? Who are you? I don't care what you think. I go, yo, take off the scarf, man. You'll listen to me. Nah, man, it's my scarf. I don't care who you are. I go, bruv, those who don't hear must feel. And then the police come. So this is my mentality. And my dad will say, look, I'm telling the boxer, don't turn up tomorrow. I promise you, I'm going to kill you. Right? And they'll say, nah, shut up, man. I'm a professional. I would kill that guy. You see what I'm saying? There's because I'm in the same mentality as my dad. I'm promising you. Because I love that about my dad. I love that he promised. Even though if he's, I promise you a beating, but it's just later on in life, you're just like, that was something that gave me comfort. If my dad said, you're getting 12 cakes tomorrow for this, or you're getting, I'm going to buy you this or buy you that, and I'm going to beat you, I'm going to do this. At least he was consistent. Some men out there ain't consistent with their youths, and it's just infuriating. So I was making sure I was consistent with my youths, just like my dad was with me, because I loved how that felt.
Okay, Norman, you there, brother? I can hear you on the phone, but I can't hear you actually on the in the Zoom. No, I can hear you on the phone, but I can't hear you in the Zoom.
He's got his mic off or something, because I can't hear.
No, his mic is there.
Mic's on.
Your mic's on, Norman.
Okay. Well, I'll just try to touch on Black's philosophy.
Hold on, let me just see if he's there. Norm, say something. Where's he going?
Go on, Blapps. Continue with your Blapps philosophy until he sorts out his microphone.
Yeah, definitely.
Black's philosophy is like the martial arts hierarchy, where I'm Sifu, which is instructor or father figure, You know, it's always your dad teaching you something. Mate. Most of the time, it's your dad teaching you something. Your mum is nurturing. All right, but like when my mum and dad both teach me everything, because my mum was about, you're not going to have any woman lord over you because they're trying to be your mum. So I'm going to teach you how to knit. I'm going to teach you how to sew. I'm going to teach you how to wash your clothes. I'm going to teach you everything I know. Like, she was a nurse, so she told me how to fold, how to do the proper corners on hospital beds and everything. And that's something my dad taught me as well, how to shine your shoes.
What was that? Shine your shoes.
Clean the car, how to put up shelves, everything. My dad taught me everything he knew. My mum taught me, how to shine shoes properly. When my brother went into the RAF, 10 years of training before he got there. So before he went into the RAF, but when my brother came back and showed us how to march, and then I loved all the boot camp he came back with. And so I wanted to teach children that same way, because parents were saying, Victor, you should start a boot camp. Victor, you should start an academy. It was one or the other boot camp. I think I'm going to go too far. I think I'll just do the academy, and then I could teach that in the academy now, but we do it online. With the Blapps philosophy, it's more about how that hierarchy goes out into the street. If you go out to the street and you feel everyone's part of your family, if you know how to love someone, you protect them. So we go out thinking everyone we meet in life, anyone we meet is part of our family, because we all came from the same place, the planet Earth. It doesn't matter what religion you are, what creed, whatever. You've got to know that all your books say you came from the planet Earth. Adam was made with mud, breathed into by God. There you go. Made from the planet Earth. So we're all the same. We all come from Mother Earth. That's why it's called Mother Earth, because everything springs from it. If you didn't have the sun, nothing would grow on the earth. So therefore, the sun is the father. When you go into the moon, that could be your auntie, uncle, best friend, whatever. When you got a godfather, whoever you want, and we got the stars and quasars and pulsars and all that stuff out there, that's your children that you know, your cousins, your nieces, nephew, everyone out there. And it just goes to time, grandfather time, and then you got where we all started from, way back in the past. So it's just understanding that you bring into balance, like Taoism, which was my first philosophy I learned, and I was trained to be a monk in. That you bring your life in line with the universe, Mother Nature, and humanity. So you try to find a balance in there, and the way is to walk by doing nothing, to teach everyone else. Wu Wei, it's called.
All right.
Wu Wei is when you just you change the world by doing nothing. And how you do that is you become the best you can be, and then someone across the street will admire you for what you've done, and you won't know it. You'll just walk in the street looking like a lion, looking like a king, looking like a whatever, someone that they can respect. And they'll say, I wonder what he is. What's his name? Victor. Okay, cool. We look him up and we find out this is what he does, this is what he looks like, this is what he says, this is what he acts. And then they'll say, I like to be like him, and take it on. I've done nothing. I've walked down the street, but I've changed the world because that person has changed them.
Right. We're still waiting for Norman to get his mic out, sort his mic, and ask you a question. But can I ask you another question before we wrap up still? We've got another 5 minutes. Tell me something about yourself that no one knows.
Tell me something about no one knows.
That you haven't spoke to other people about.
Tell us about the skeleton in your closet.
Oh, right. I know what I can do. What did he say?
Abdul said, tell us about the skeletons in the closet. I'm not asking about your closet still. I'm not actually going to do that. I'm just asking, what is there something
Everyone's
that stands out in your...
yeah,
of course they have. But in your life, what stands out? That's
What
something
you
that you
call a
haven't.
skeleton, I would call nothing.
Well,
like,
maybe that
it
could be
might be, and vice
soup.
versa, innit? So,
Skeletons could be soup, brother. I know nothing that.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, what is it? Something that you know about yourself and done in your life that no one don't.
I started the martial arts. The reason why I decided to become a Sifu at 15 years old was I was scared to death I was going to lose a fight, right, in the street, because I was getting a rep for how violent I was, how bad I was at fighting, how brilliant, how aggressive I was. I was one of the first people to beat up a whole family.
Froze up.
Beat and then he went home, got the elder brother had left school. They came to the school the same day, and I bruck him up too. And they both went back and got the dad who was on the way back for school. I bruck him up too. So I bruck up the whole family. I was one of the first to do that. I got arrested at school twice by the police, handcuffs and everything, because of my violence, because of what I was doing. So I was like, someone's going to come back and try and get me. So the reason I continued to become a martial arts instructor was to become the most deadly person I could think of. And I tried to find the most deadly martial art out there. Brother, who is the most deadly fighter? Bruce Lee. Oh, what does he do? Wing Chun. All right, I'll do that. And there you go. That's why I even dedicated a whole chapter to Bruce Lee, and why I decided to do it, to have him as a role model for my training, because I wanted to become Bruce Lee. The actual title of the chapter is called Becoming Bruce Lee.
See, that's the funny thing.
Again, one thing that people don't understand, I wanted to teach, not because I wanted to become a great fighter or whatever like that, and revered and bowed down to everything, because I don't allow bowing in my club. I don't allow bowing at all.
Yeah, I'm not
I was doing
that.
it because of my children. It's totally selfish. I wanted them to be protected, even though I weren't worried about them. If I die today, who's protecting my children? So I have to train your children to be as good as my children. Sorry?
See, that's the thing. See, yeah, I can hear you, but I think
so. Basically, I
was the bandwidth
very
problem.
Selfish reason why I taught. I started teaching. I worked.
When you're talking, it's slowing down and speeding up.
Everyone around me. Okay. Well, like I say, everything seems normal here.
Right.
On my side, so I can hear you fine, I can see you fine. There's no freezing going on. But yeah, so I started teaching everyone to make sure my children were protected. Then I started teaching your children, my children, their children, and then they all become very good, and they all want me to teach their children. So it's a very selfish reason. So yeah.
One of the things you see, one of the things of having a reputation. Once you've got a reputation, everyone that thinks they're about it, they want a piece, and they want a piece. You have to be ready for that. So I understand what you're saying when you're saying that's what drove you to be a Sifu.
I'm a realist. I'm a realist. If you're gonna think, how are we gonna deal with that victim, man? He's too boastful. He's too out there. He's too bad, man. Yes, we have to bring him down a peg or two. How are we gonna do it? Well, we can't go and grip him up. He's too strong. We can't go out fight him because he knows too much. We're gonna have to bring a gun. We're gonna have to bring, 40 men. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to. I have to think about things like this and be prepared for that. So I'm saying, like, okay, cool. Who do they know that I know, right? Am I going to turn up to this fight with them? Am I going to be caught out there by myself? And what have I got while I'm by myself if they come for me? So I have to be prepared for everything. If man want to kill you, they'll kill you. Sure. Everyone can be got. So I just say, I'll teach everyone. I teach all kinds of people in my class, and that's one of the most proud things I have about my school is that you could be a Muslim standing next to a Christian, next to a Catholic, next to a Jew, right? Next to a black man, next to a white man, next to an Asian, next to Chinese. And everyone's there to learn my martial art because it's the most effective, and because of how I was brought up, with all the warriors I've been through, they're learning a reality form of Wing Chun. They're not learning that little nice little flowery Wing Chun. They're learning a brutal one. They're learning a harsh system. They're learning something that's going to make them stronger. And when they leave the class, they're respecting everyone that they trained with. They're not just going to go back and say, oh, forget them now, I've left the school. They have to carry on as a student of martial arts when they leave the school. It don't end when you start the school, and when you start the school, you don't become a martial artist, and then 2 hours later, after the lesson, you're not a martial artist anymore. You have to continue that way. So if I see you acting out of your methods of life, then I'm going to pull you up on it. You see what I'm saying? You can't just stop being a martial artist.
I agreed with what you said when you said you don't allow bowing, because I had a few lessons myself, and the guy wanted me to bow to some Chinese ancestors and all them thing there, and I'm not on that because we're their ancestors, so I wasn't really on it. But
yeah, what about?
yeah, I'm not about that. But Norman, can you talk? Have you got time? Is your mic working now? You're talking, but we can't hear you, and your mic is actually switched on. Still cannot hear you, brother.
The CDMA website has been redone. It used to be cdma.uk.com, www.cdma, Charlie Delta Mike Alpha.uk.com, showing all initiatives being redone. It's been restarted towards the end of September this month. And the Blapps app, which is a self-help character building app, is getting launched in November. So from the website. So this is where we're moving towards now, is to get everything online. Like the CDMA is going online. So is my man ready for his question? Or
he's having problems. Alwyn, you got your hand up. You got something? You want to ask a question?
Well, it's not such a question. It's like, I'm just thinking, you know, like obviously this is a good platform for we to, you know, as like Blapps is introducing himself and his skills. Do you know what I mean? Maybe we should go about introducing ourselves and our skills, and then find out how we're going to be placed in order to carry out some kind of, you know, how we're going to carry out a mission in order to deal with these problems that have been coming up. Do you know what I mean? So I'm saying that, you know, obviously each person that introduces themselves, you know what I mean, then there's, you know, that's another skill that can, you know, that can be utilized in one area or another. So I mean, I think this was just a good.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. And I'm about teaching the children, and it's not just teaching the children martial arts. It's about teaching them how to use the academic skills that they're learning at school to aid them in whatever they want to do in life. So that's why we call one of our initiatives Real Education, because we don't just teach you how to do maths or how to do fractions or algebra. We teach you how to use that to get a job doing that skill. You know what I'm saying? So we teach you how to use that in real life, to do the economics of a budget for your shopping bill, for instance, how to utilize the maths to deal with a quote in real life. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff they didn't teach you at school, we teach you it at the academy. The academy is literally a prepper for life. It's not just kung fu or judo or jiu-jitsu. It's maths, English, judo, karate, physics, literature, chess, stock exchange, philosophy, psychology, all kinds of stuff you get learned at the academy. We have 75 teachers come, 29 teachers covering 75 subjects.
All right. Yeah, but
so when it comes to your child,
when it comes to introducing yourself, we do ask at the beginning to introduce yourselves, and we have asked for people to let us know what their skill set is, so we can get people linked up, and that's what the meet and greets are there for also. Tyrone, you got a question?
Yeah, just a quick one to Brother Blapps. First of all, thank you. I think that you're very quite amazing brother still. So I just want to say respect and thank you for your talk today. Yeah. Right now, see my boy, yeah, has been diagnosed with autism, yeah. But a lot of the time, I feel like he's just being a ginnel, if you see what I'm dealing with, because he's very, very intelligent.
Most
I want to
autistic
get
people
him.
are.
I really feel like I've said it before as well. Like I take him boxing. He does gymnastics. He does enough little things, yeah. But I just wanted to ask you, how would you, how are you prepared to deal with children, with the special children then? Because
I
he
could show
might do
you.
certain things. I don't want you to brack him up. You know what I mean? But no, it's real. It's real though, because he might. I've taken my son. No, I'm being honest. Like, it might sound funny, yeah, but
Don't worry
like
about your child, bro.
my son, I know you wouldn't, but you know, my son, like, I take him explore learning, and you know, he slapped the teacher in the face and them thing there. Now,
Okay.
I wouldn't dream of doing that when I was a youth, because I know that the Moses rod would have get bust up on me. But I can't do that to him because of how things are. But supposing he was to kick you, like the other day, we went up to the museum.
I got kicked in a lesson 2 weeks ago. Okay, and that child still walks here. Don't worry about it.
All right.
When I deal with children, what I'm famous for is how I teach children. Okay, parents bring their children to me because their testimonies from other parents saying this guy is one of the best teachers of children I've ever met. So this is autistic is never a problem for me. When I was fostering children, I said which group is the worst of the worst that gives you the most problems, and they said 11 to 18, and I said that's the ones I want. I don't want no young ones. If that's the one that causes trouble, I want the worst, because of how you get taught martial arts. The respect you get straight away, he will see, and he comes to the class, how everyone else treats me and how I treat everyone else. The respect level is very high straight away. He's going to learn what self-respect is, and then he's going to want it. He's going to want it for himself, and then he's going to want to show you respect to prove how good he is at his martial art. Because martial arts is not just about thumping someone more efficiently. It's about developing your mind, body, and spirit. You're developing the spirit. Back in the day, generations back, I'm sending you, because you're out of order, you need more discipline. I'm sending you to karate. You need to get rid of some of your energy. I'm sending you to judo. You need to learn more manners. I'm sending you to jiu-jitsu. Martial arts is used to develop the character of children. That's it. When you go to boxing, you just thump a bag. When you go to, you see what I'm saying? There's, you know, it's very long time before you get to the life classes that Rocky gets. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got to learn to be more persistent. You got to learn to take one, to give one, all that. You know, there's basic things. But remember, in martial arts, you're punching, you're striking, which is everything, any point of the body used to injure an opponent. You're learning to grapple and you're learning to wrestle, because that's how all human beings fight. You wrestle, grapple, strike. If someone strikes, you wrestle. If someone wrestles, you grapple. If someone wrestles, you strike. If you don't know the full three of them, then you're not doing full martial arts. You're just doing a sport. You see what I'm saying? Right. So now, if you're doing a sport, then we're not interested in that. We're dealing with real life, where your life could end if you don't do this right. So when we bring people to the class, when people are brought to our class, we give them the seriousness, which is why my martial art is called Absolute Reality Martial System. You get the reality real quick. Okay? Someone is out there who wants to stab you, or your mum. Someone's out there that wants to trip you up, grab your watch, kick you in the throat, and leave you for dead. Someone's out there ready to do that. And if you don't want to learn what I'm teaching you, you're going to be the next victim. You're going to be the deer, not the lion. So if they don't get it from just seeing how it's taught and how what they will learn and the enjoyment of the class, because you have to teach children to have fun. And my classes are fun. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't go in. They beg to come to my classes.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. We're going to wrap up now. Let me just quickly ask Fario, was there a question? Because you had your hand up a good while ago. and I didn't get to you.
Yeah, yeah. Can you guys see me?
Yeah, we can see you, brother, man.
No, all right, cool. Just a quick one. I think the man has just already alluded to some of the one I wanted to ask, but I wanted to listen to the chat. I think the martial arts teaches a lot of physical agility and discipline. I was just gonna say whether there's a way of teaching children also to be intellectually agile as well. And I think he has spoken to that, because I think a lot of what our children are taught these days is just education for education's sake, or sport for sport's sake, or this for that sake.
Okay.
So I'm glad that you've already started thinking about also combining intellectual agility together with physical.
We do that all the time. It's a good question.
Sorry, so that again, Blaps.
In martial arts, like I said, I reiterate time and time, through me, you're not just learning how to punch. When you're in school, Warrriors Wing Chun Kung Fu School, it's not just teaching you how to punch someone more effectively. You learn meditation as well. You learn Warriors life classes. You learn all the morals. What does righteousness mean? Humility mean? What does you have to understand some more manners? You need to have respect. You need to have obedience. You need to have more righteousness, humility, all this kind of buzzwords. There's 52 of these lessons. They're drawn. I drew them up myself from the Wu Day, which is the Warriors Code. Okay, it's a book. There's a Warriors Code. It's yay thick, and it's 1,500 years old. So I made 52 lessons, and I put them in a book. That's one of my 4 books I've written. And I teach these life classes. They sit cross-legged while I learn them. And then the adults are coming in towards the end of the class when I'm teaching these life classes. I'll sit them down, and they're all a page, A4 page long. And I teach the life class, and it could be about brutality. It could be about humility. It could be about righteousness, to be honesty. It could be about any of these buzzwords to develop a character. And the adults are coming in and asking questions as well, listening intently, like, and asking questions. And you know what I mean? Because this is development of the child is important more than teaching an adult. I always tell the adults, I don't care about you. I'd rather teach the children than teach adults. This is why I haven't taught adults for 6 years, because I didn't have any senior students, not working to be able to come in and help with the class to develop the adults. But when, like meditation, when we're meditating, I say, right, listen to the traffic outside and tell me when a van goes past. Listen and tell me what a van comes past. And when you hear one, tell me what color it is. So now, can you do that?
That's a different level still.
Yeah.
I used to meditate still. I enjoyed meditating a lot, but I don't know about meditation. The van went past.
Meditation is not about calming yourself down and making yourself good enough so you can sleep. It's about concentration and focus and using your mind to solve a problem.
Yeah, you want to center as also.
Engineer a route out of your system, out of your problem. What color's the van, bro? What color's the van?
It's white.
Exactly. See what I'm saying? You ask the 6-year-old what color it is, they go, what? Am I supposed to know that?
All right, guys. Blapps, thank you so much for popping by and spending some time to let us know about what you do. Thanks, MDC family, for popping in the same way.
Can I say one more?
Yeah, 1 minute. Just so sorry that the reception and that. Yeah. 1 minute. Just sorry that the reception was as bad as it has been today. Go ahead, Blaps.
Okay. As a warrior, I meditate upon death every day. And it's not a morbid fascination with death or over concern wondering what happens after I die. I'm just making sure that I understand my life will come to an end one day. And this is a certainty. No one's come back.
I saw that on your website.
So after death. So that's right. So I want to make sure that when people hear that I'm meditating on death, is to understand that I have one life I'm going to live it to the fullest, no matter what you see me doing. But how is Blapps doing all of these things to be done in my life? Because I might die tomorrow, and I'm still investigating what interests me. So get out there and grasp life by the throat and get on with it. Stop thinking about what happens after death. Get on with living. Okay? Live now.
All right, thank you, brother.